known for great decision-making in the game. So he definitely is more of a macro expert, and he's bringing on somebody to help out his players. And this is so smart and probably it's helped them a lot, not only the solo queue ranking, but the fact that the KOO Tigers have gotten so much better in the laning phase.
Which was their biggest weakness. They would fall down early and then just have to claw their way back in the game, like the CJ of old, almost. And looking at our picks and bans currently, we have Nidalee, Kalista, Ryze, and Annie taken out.
Yeah, the Nidalee, just taking that away from Eve. It's not a champion that the KOO Tigers really like to run. They've run it a couple times, but not with any consistency. And there's the Alistar and the Evelynn taken out. Little weird you would ban the Evelynn instead of the Gragas.
Well, picks and bans going fairly quickly so far. KOO Tigers know what they want. Meanwhile, Samsung may be waiting a little bit to think.
Do you take that Maokai, though? Smeb has a lot of weird picks that he can play on the top side to counter you with. Now, Wissam had those huge games on the Eve in their last outing, so they may be worried about that, but I think that giving him the Gragas is even arguably more dangerous. He is the better Gragas player, too, compared to him versus Hojin.
Well, they're going to take the Nautilus away and maybe take away a potential flex pick from the KOO Tigers, so we'll see if that goes top or support for Samsung, but most likely probably going to go to support.
Yeah, I think you take the Nautilus away absolutely against this team. Both Gorilla and Smeb have shown that they can do quite well with this champion. So what is Gorilla going to go for this game? Of course, with 3 of his primary supports already eliminated from the pool.
Blitzcrank.
Blitzcrank, oh yes, the natural answer.
The natural answer to any support champion pool.
Still has his Thresh. Even though that's not a champion he's really preferred ever since kind of the World Championship last year.
Well, it would be cool to see the KOO Tigers possibly go in for a Juggernaut composition with the Janna, because Gorilla is very well known for Janna, but looks like they're taking a look at the Corki and they lock it in along with the Rumble.
So pretty standard composition for the KOO Tigers so far. Going with that Corki comfort pick for Prey. Of course, very viable in the current meta here in Korea. We see how many teams. We basically see Sivir Corki like every game.
Yep. So if you are Samsung, do you want to blind pick your mid lane?
Yeah, I think you just take the Azir right now. You know that Kuro is probably not going to play a Zed into you. That's not really a Kuro champion. It never has been. So you're going to feel pretty safe that you're not going to get all-in some sort of crazy capacity.
Right, but do you still want to give away the Victor to Kuro, which is one of his better champions as well? So maybe Crown is confident in that matchup if it potentially comes, but the Azir and Rek'Sai are locked in.
Yeah, Rek'Sai falling down the draft. And again, this is a flex pick for Samsung. We've seen so many teams ban the Rek'Sai against them because you don't know where it's going. So very deceptive draft so far. We don't know where the Nautilus is going. We don't know where the Rek'Sai is going. And
will we see the Soraka?
Yeah, probably not. You are going to see the Victor, though, and Victor Thresh seems like the likely choices. So very standard, very meta composition. KOO Tigers and Prey and Kuro will be on two of their most comfortable champions. They should feel quite at ease in this game.
That's a lot of AP damage, though.
It is a lot of AP damage. Thinking about that Braum, just for a little bit of disengage on the Sivir ultimate, they will lock it in.
So we get the Braum and we get the Victor. And what will Samsung do? Hovering the Hecarim, and the Hecarim is locked in for the top lane.
No surprise. If you know Kuve plays a lot of Hecarim, it's still up. They know what the matchup is in the top side, and you see the Victor. And teams love to play Hecarim into Victor for that big team fight engage. Victor can't really do anything about a home guarding Hecarim, chasing him down, especially if he doesn't have flash. So a logical pickup there and a very meta composition for both teams. Not a lot of surprises here.
But Juve is going to be very, very lonely in that back line if Eve doesn't follow him in. Mainly, and with the Braum back there, he can get stunned up and pretty much kited out, really.
Why don't we have a basketball skin for Braum that's called LeBron yet?
LeBron?
Where he ults and he like jumps up and dunks.
Oh, man. I don't know. Maybe you should work for the skin team on Riot.
I mean,
You have so many.
Joe and I have given
many.
them so many good ideas.
Texas Rengar.
Yes, Walker Texas Rengar is the one they still haven't made. If there's one skin you make that we have offered you, it is that one.
Yep.
Are you joking? Why is that not made?
Well, after you have Lollipop, you don't need anything else, I guess.
They already have a bunch of other Western-themed skins.
Yeah, I know they do, don't they?
Jeez, Riot.
They have like Desperada, like Cassiopeia, a bunch of other stuff.
All right, well, let's get into the game right now. Game 1, KOO Tigers versus Samsung.
Big cheers from Samsung.
There are always big cheers for Samsung, Barry. They may have lost all their players after last year and had to rebuild the team from scratch, but they have a damn loyal fan base.
Hey, it's always good to see an org with a bunch of fans that stick through thick and thin.
Yes, it was quite thick and then quite thin.
Yeah. World Championships to last place in the league.
That is
That is the thickest to thinnest right there.
I don't know if it gets really much worse. It's not even possible to get worse than that.
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, you could always get relegated. That would probably be the worst.
That is true. That could happen, but...
Well, line of scrimmage. Gorilla gets snarled up and gets to walk away for free.
Yep.
It takes a couple hits, I guess.
Just a few wards into the enemy jungle from KOO, so they're trying to scout the starting path here.
Yep.
Of the jungler as to whether he's going to be on the top side. They have wards in Krubs and Grump and Red Buff, so they will know exactly what is going on. Meanwhile, Ground just pacing impatiently, waiting for the minion line to get there.
He wants to give his orders.
How come he can't order the minions around?
I guess they're not Shuriman citizens, maybe. I don't know. Well, we have Wraith sitting in the forward brush while we see a heavy leash for the KOO Tigers.
Yeah, it looks like we are just going to start pretty standard here. Smeb going to be hitting level 2 immediately. Actually, after the Krugs, he'll take the full XP on that. Looks like, and then head over to the red buff. Gorilla doing some harassing here. Nice stun onto Wraith, makes him take a little bit of damage, but trade's about even.
Well, we
haven't seen Braum in a while, actually, and you know, only a couple teams have played Braum. KT is the team that's played him the most, Fixer, but that has been dropping off. But you know, when you have so many support bans, and then the first pick support from Wraith, it does thin it out quite a bit, but still no Thresh.
I do like the Braum pick against the Azir, mainly because the Azir will send his Sand Soldiers forward, but they'll be stopped by the wall. So if, you know, in a later game situation, you have Crown bringing in 3 soldiers, he'll at least block 1 or 2 of them so he won't get the full triple kind of spear damage from all the soldiers.
Yeah, it's also a very heavy engaged composition, so the Glacial Fish are going to do a lot of work when Samsung wants to come in.
Definitely.
And their primary engage is either going to be an Azir ultimate or a Hecarim flank. So at least Gorilla can stop the primary, like the engage from the front so they can deal with the Hecarim.
Right.
Because Eve is just going to be mostly that follow-up engage, of course, on Rek'Sai. Not really the best engaged champion, but Smeb in a bit of trouble right now, has to double back as he's trying to avoid the Unburrow, but there is going to be first blood as Smeb flashes. Don't think you need to flash. Whoa, there he comes in, barely out of range of Wisdom.
Wisdom, is he going to pay?
No.
No.
There's no flash. He has his flash available, so he is not going to go down, but Wisdom just barely not there in time. Gotta wonder about that flash from Smeb, so whether that was really necessary. I think he thought Wisdom was closer than he was, and maybe they had a shade of a chance of turning it around.
So with this first blood on the Rek'Sai, do you want to go for a more aggressive buys like a Warrior Enchant, maybe snowball the early game, or do you still go for the Cinderhulk and maybe just kind of go for the big presence in team fights.
I think you have to go for the Cinder Hulk here because Wisdom is just going to separate you in team fights, and if you don't have that tankiness, you're just going to get isolated and killed almost immediately.
Fair enough.
So I think that would be pretty risky. Smeb will be now opting for the arm guard first that he's behind, already grabbing the armor and the amp tome to make that a reality, but Smeb was really overextended right there, had a ward in the river, but if you want to overextend like that right at 4 minutes when that level 3 gank can come in to the top side, and there's not really an excuse either because they had good information at level 1 to know what the pathing was going to be, and Wisdom needs to be there to cover, so it looks like just a mistiming there from the KOO Tigers and how they were going to set that one up.
So, what is Eve's next move? That if KOO can defend that tunnel, Eve has an easy path into that lane. And Rumble is trying to stay back right now. Still afraid, but they have vision. He has vision of Eve and the blue on the blue buff. So,
yeah, see how well KOO can bounce back. Of course, I think that if you want to put money on a team coming from behind, it is, of course, the KOO Tigers.
Definitely.
Their shot calling, once they hit that mid game, is probably still their greatest strength.
Yeah, but as you've talked in past broadcasts, with the difference between having Hojin and Wisdom, though, is that maybe less crisp shot calling in the late game. And if the game goes late, and granted they're against Samsung, who doesn't necessarily have the best late game shot calling, it could still be a factor.
But we hadn't seen Wisdom for a few weeks, and the last match against CJ, remember that they came back from a 10K gold deficit with very good execution with their pick composition, and that was some very masterful shot calling, and Wisdom was a part of those games, so not really sure if he's stepped it up in that regard. Certainly his team fighting looked better than it did at the beginning of the season. That was sort of problematic before, but it does seem to have significantly improved.
And Juve, level 6 for both top laners, but he is below half health.
Uh-oh. Here's the dive coming in. Wisdom is here. He is not seen, and he's just going to get right back in behind Kube. Going to use the Onslaught of Shadows, but that's not going to be enough. Wisdom gets in there with the flash to prevent the turnaround kill. There was no ignite on Kube, just barely down. But Samsung will respond with a dragon.
Yeah. I mean, it was still a good try from Kube. He tried to make the best out of a bad situation, but came up a little bit short. And Samsung will most likely get this dragon and now moves back into the mid lane to keep farming.
Yeah, Wisdom wants a red buff though, knows there's no ward in there, courtesy of his pink. So it will be a little bit of a nice takeaway, at least for the Tigers. So nice response by both teams.
Well, Kube has his ignite back up again. He had it up for that last gank. Maybe he might try to convert into a kill in that lane or during a teleport gank.
Kuro having a bit of a hard time farming, as we typically see in the Victor Azir matchup.
Well, now that he's upgraded his Hex Core, it might change a little bit as he can clear waves fairly easily now.
Still playing aggressively, has those Merc Treads, getting the magic resist early on, as one would think. Smeb actually not finishing his arm guard, so not going to get that stacking immediately. Instead goes for the magic pen straight off the bat. You can see some ward clearing. Very good topside warding right now from the KOO Tigers. They've got eyes in the enemy jungle, able to take out a pink ward. Maybe. Ooh. Smeb knows he's there. He sees Eve. So
and
not much going to come out of that in the end.
Yeah, Eve didn't know where Wisdom was, but they probably had the inkling that they will be at the blue side. At least they hand off the blue buff, which they do right now.
So, and there you go. Nice hook onto Gorilla. Gorilla just pops the Unbreakable, though. However, Samsung still ending up with a pretty favorable trade, and that's been Fury and Wraith's specialty, as this laning phase, gaining advantages, even getting kills straight up in the 2v2.
Yeah, and we'll see if Fury can keep this edge now that Prey has hit level 6, though, which is generally when you see this matchup change advantage, but
nice block there on the Boomerang Blade.
Yeah.
So
Prevents the return damage.
looks like Wisdom really just wants this top side of the map. Wants to shut down this Hecarim. He's going to actually take out a tunnel. There comes the ward, but are they going to try another dive? Equalizer's back up. So it's just constant clearing, constant pressure onto this top lane. They want to deny Kuve again. If they can deny Kuve, denying a Hecarim is very powerful because he's significantly more item reliant
Than Rumble, yes.
than Rumble is. So by delaying his power spike, KOO is actually opening a window right now where they're going to be even stronger. When we talk about like Corki and Rumble together in the mid game, that is extremely strong. And they need Kuve to be big and have that Trinity Force so he can deal with Kuro's Victor. So without that, the longer this game goes, KOO is going to have a longer amount of time to really do the damage they need to have done. Because late game, as we see, Smeb actually gets knocked under the turret, has to flash. Nice play from Kuve.
Well played, Kuve. And that might prompt a gank in the top lane within the next 5 minutes with that flash down.
Here we go. Wisdom's here. There we go. Knock up hits the jungler from Samsung, but now they're going to keep on going. There's an explosive cast, stun onto Wraith, but at the end, no one dies.
Kuve decides, oh, Eve.
Nope, he dies. I lied. I'm a liar, Barry. Kuro finds his way into the enemy jungle. Eve had to get out of there extremely quickly, heading back up into the bottom side. And since the blue buff was up, he wanted to secure it and hand it off to Crown, but gets caught on a smart invade by Kuro. Kuro burns his flash for the kill.
Well, teleport advantage now for Samsung. Kuve decided not to teleport into that scuffle as his ultimate was down.
Well, only one kill for that teleport. There was no dragon. They didn't get the blue buff, so actually not the most efficient use of teleport for the Rumble. And Kuve really has a chance to make a strong dragon play, and Samsung may find themselves with a second dragon unless Smeb can get down there, hoof it on foot to the dragon. And this is a large problem because KOO's going to want to start fighting soon. This is where they're going to be strong. And like you said before this game started, magic resist, extremely effective against KOO. Corki is the only one doing attack damage. Smeb is going to get the tower though, and that is huge. Because now Smeb's going to be able to push the wave up so he can contest the dragon.
And Gorilla making his way up to the top lane will be seen by a ward.
It doesn't matter if they get the kill here. The main goal has to be push up the wave so that you buy as much time as possible to make a play on the dragon. That's why they're investing so many wards into the top side and putting the support up there at the moment, because they really just need to get this under control so that they're not punished for the lack of teleport.
Well, dragon up will be up in 1 minute, so we'll see if that preparation pays off. And Smeb in the mid lane, farming.
Smeb actually really turning around his build, haunting guys instead. He got that kill, decides he doesn't need that. He just needs the magic pen, needs that boost to his damage, the power spike now.
And that, with those items, if he goes into that dragon fight, which will be happening within the next minute or two, he'll be doing so much damage against Samsung Galaxy, because the only person that has any real magic resist is Kuve and Kuve and Azir.
I really question this freeze that Kuve is doing right now. He is keeping the wave very close to his turret, and by not pushing it up with Rampage, it's going to limit their options when it comes to contesting the dragon. So dragon is live. What will they do? Kuve can't really go back to base right now to use the home guard enchantments, but he's invested so much money on these home guards right now, and KOO has absolute priority over this dragon.
Well, there's one ward behind the dragon pit for Samsung Galaxy, so if they decide to TP in there, that is an option, but Kuve starting to push up the wave.
Wow, looks like they're just going to totally abandon this dragon as the Scuttle Crab gets taken. The waves are pushed.
Maybe Samsung just doesn't want to fight the KOO Tigers in their power spike, even though Corki hasn't maybe hit his Trinity Force power spike yet, but that Rumble is quite terrifying.
But even if you don't want to fight Barry, you don't freeze the wave like that because now Smeb has a chance just to walk back into the top side and collect most of that XP. So instead of denying much, you're not going to get the tower right here. Well, maybe he's going to deny about a wave, but is that really a worthwhile trade? And I think you just put the pressure on and try and trade a top tower right there because that's the luxury that having a teleport advantage offers you.
Did the Korean audience just seriously clap for a ward clear?
No, I think they clapped for something the caster said, Barry.
Okay.
They probably said clap for me.
Monty and his clap. Oh, another ward clear. Oh, the observer zooms in with every hit.
Jeez.
We've gone full Season 2 Worlds.
No.
Here in Korea.
No. I reject it, Barry.
You reject it?
I reject it.
I feel like the Korean casters may be egging this on right now.
Somebody has to set him straight, Barry.
No.
I'm going to need you to go take over there. I got this. Got it solo.
Just push over Caster John and is like, this is my show now. I am the hype man. Look at me. I'm the hype man now.
You got it. That's how you get things you want in life, Barry. You seize control.
Well, things are a bit of a lull, but looks like KOO Tigers want to maybe get some chip damage onto this turret in the bottom side. Meanwhile, Kuro still farming in the mid lane. And Hecarim with another freeze.
Yeah, I mean, I know what they're trying to do with this Hecarim pick, and that the freeze is valuable. They got that first dragon, so they don't have that big clock hanging over their heads.
Yeah.
So that is nice, so they can actually hit their power spike, but I think there's more to be done here than they had been doing. So the idea is right, the execution, I think, maybe a little bit off.
And 4 players for the KOO Tigers in the mid lane. Smeb moving topside to defend that turret. But this turret is taking a lot of damage, especially with Porky with his Trinity Force. Are they going to take it? And they take it.
And this is just what the Tigers do. When we talk about them and hitting power spikes and wave management and lane allocations, that is their big specialty. So they do take some damage down on the bottom side, but thanks to all their wards, they know exactly what's going on. They get the mid lane tower, and they're nailing it right now with this Corki. Sure, they're only 800 gold in the lead at the moment, but they're starting to dictate the pace of this game. They control the tempo, and they may just get another tower in a couple of minutes. You can see Rek'Sai's there, but there's so many wards. They know exactly where Rek'Sai is, and Wisdom's going to walk straight into the pink warded brush and dare them to start a fight.
Is Eve going to complete his recall? Yes, he is. So they're giving this one up.
Well, they have no wave clear there. So until Sivir gets back to lane, which she does in the nick of time.
And now we have Wisdom hiding in that brush. There's no ward, but there is a check.
There is a Boomerang Blade. And here comes Eve zooming back down with a Void Rush that may stall out the KOO Tigers push, at least for the time being.
Let's see how much damage that top lane turret has taken. About 4th health left.
Yep, but Smeb still there. Now he has fallen behind in CS by a significant amount. This is the result. These are the fruits of Kuve's freeze. But we now have to track and see, was this worth it for Samsung? Because they definitely did manage to take something.
Well, if Cuvée is able to get his Trinity Force in the next 2 minutes before that dragon comes back up, I think it will be definitely be worth it. And if they're able to win that team fight, that is such a huge swing for the Samsung Galaxy.
Yes, yes it is. So interesting dynamic around the top lane this game. You can really see KOO and Samsung's goals when it came to dealing with this top lane matchup and knowing how it's going to affect the rest of this match.
Yeah, and we see Crown with that Abyssal Scepter too, knowing that most of the damage coming out from the KOO Tigers, it will be magic damage. So it's very efficient buy, and especially if he does a Shuriman Shuffle to kind of push back at 3 or 4 people with his ultimate, that will do so much damage.
Smeb on the all-in right now. Fury's there, but Wisdom has his teammates back. Praise Seeker collides with Smeb from the side. There's a disengage on the explosive cast, and there's just a flash over the wall from Wraith. Everyone having to flash, and the equalizer gets dumped to make sure they get out of range.
This is really good for Samsung Galaxy. They took out 2 flashes, they took out a couple ultimates.
They committed 4 people to the top side, which is going to lose them a tower. So we'll have to
Right.
see if they can actually finish off the top lane tier 1. That's definitely their goal, but they have to be very worried that there is no one to stop Prey. Prey doesn't have any vision, though.
Right. Well, Prey is going to be recalling currently, and I think they will get
They're
this
gonna get
turret.
it. Yeah, there's no equalizer to clear the wave.
Oh, they're forced to back off.
I don't know about that. There are no ultimates.
But Kuro's on his way up from mid lane. It's a 3v4.
All right, Smeb coming in. Smeb gets chucked out very low early on. There's the death
Oh.
ray finish onto Fury.
Teleport is canceled by QV.
I
Samsung overextended.
think they could have done more with that, honestly, because there wasn't an explosive cast, there wasn't an equalizer. So,
But maybe they were just worried about the numbers advantage if Kuro booked it up there too, if you think about it.
yeah, I think though if you just delay for a few more seconds so Crown can get out of there, play with some vision in the brushes, maybe you could do something. It's a tight call, but Samsung, I think, had a good idea to just go ahead and push that tower. And part of that is Crown needed to get up there faster. It's hard because he doesn't have a tier 1 turret
Right.
to do that safely.
Well, Dragon is live. All ultimates for the KOO Tigers are back up. So, no teleport for Samsung Galaxy.
That's huge. When you put those that early investment into the home guards on the Hecarim, not being able to engage in the ideal manner with that TP is very game changing. KOO just gonna go. They see Fury at the top side, so they're just free Dragon.
Unfortunate for Samsung Galaxy. They're going to give up this Dragon for pretty much nothing.
Well, KOO should not be allowed to do this.
Yeah.
They should not be allowed to defend 2 sides of the map at the same time. That is a lack of decisiveness from Samsung. If you can push out that top wave and take a dragon simultaneously, the enemy team is definitely not being active enough.
Well, the momentum of this game is slowly going over to the KOO Tigers, but one big team fight can change all this, and QV goes into on Smeb, uses the ultimate.
And here we go. Eve gets the knock up. There's the equalizer drop before he dies, but again, Wisdom just a hair too late.
Yeah, unfortunately the kill went to Eve instead of QV, who could have used that kill, in my opinion, but kill is a kill.
Yeah.
They get the gold.
At the very least, Eve already has that Aegis. So, he doesn't need that gold necessarily any longer. The first kill, though, getting an early Aegis, quite helpful.
Definitely. Well, an early locket could help, too, with the amount of AoE
Yeah.
damage coming out of the KOO Tigers. So maybe the kill going to him, not the end of the world if he can get the locket quickly.
Yeah, for the team fights, it is certainly going to be a major boon. And here we go, TP. They want to get onto Kube, home
dear.
guard, and Kube getting roasted. There's the second shot from the harpoon, and that's going to be enough just to keep Kube there. Kube overextends and will die to a counter teleport play. Prey still has managed to hold on to this tier 1 at the top side longer than really the Tigers have had any right to.
Right. Well, they're going to get this. The solo gold goes to Fury. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, farm wars continue. Crown up about 30 CS, but Kuro, 2 kills up.
Yeah, quite problematic for the KOO Tigers. I mean, the fact that we're dead even in gold right now is, at the very least, promising for Samsung because they have a
Definitely.
lot of tools to help deal with the Tigers' composition. They also have a ton of wards.
We'll see how quickly Wraith can get his Righteous Glory, which might be his next big buy, I would think.
I would also think.
And that would definitely help Cuvée as well, add on to his damage, help him get the flanks, and help them bowl their way through, maybe even power through the Glacial Fissure.
Well, Gorilla is going, speaking of the Glacial Fissure and Braum, the Gorilla is going for a fast face of the mountain. So just wanting some shields for his backline.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, seems like a very wise buy. Smeb with the fast Leandries before getting the arm guard this game. A bit curious considering KOO isn't HP stacking quite yet.
I think he wanted the big 1v1 item buy. The Leandri's Torment is great against the Hecarim because your Electric Harpoon will not only slow, which reduces the damage of Hecarim as well, it also applies that Leandri's Torment the full 4%. So I can see a reason for him buying if he's willing to take the 1v1 a lot more.
Yeah, and with the Rek'Sai being tankier now, it is going to be more efficient in some of these team fights. But the problem is for KOO, they still don't have the ability to really provide the big front line with the Rumble, with the Zhonya's and the Flame Spitter.
Definitely.
They have a frontline support though, so it's not that bad.
Well, Gragas is still getting fairly big, has that Glacial Shroud, has 2 Ruby Crystals. I wonder what he's building that into. Probably maybe a locket of his own.
Yeah, it's probably going to go that way. We see that more and more frequently right now. Junglers just going for the double Ruby Crystal to get the raw stats before they invest in a completion of the actual locket.
Yeah, and that raw health is so effective on Gragas as well with this 20% damage reduction on his W.
Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. Whenever you have that instance of damage reduction. Now look at this. There's actually just a clearing ultimate to make sure that they can't just rapidly take down the turret. So sometimes you have to use explosive cast that way, just disengage people manually from your towers.
I feel like he could have killed 2 birds with 1 stone if he had placed it slightly differently, but I guess they just go for the safer option.
Yeah, also, Fury had a chance to spell shield, so let's see how this fight goes. Ooh. Nice poke from KOO early on. Wisdom and Samsung going to pop the locket and take the turret.
Well played. And Dragon will come up in 1 minute. So nothing really more for them to gain, to be honest. But KOO is pushed very far in that bottom side lane.
And Samsung really looking competitive in this game. They have snagged that gold lead ever so slightly once more with the kill of that mid lane turret. And KOO has a bit of a timer on this composition. Sure, Victor will be a late game monster, but KOO is keeping on farming here, and they have total pressure over the Dragon. They have so many minions coming into that bottom side right next to the tier 2.
And KOO heading back right now. He has a Spectre's Call already. Let's see if he can build that. He's going to go for Spirit Visage next. Doesn't have quite enough for the full buy yet.
So here we go. Possible Dragon fight incoming. Remember, Smeb does not have TP, so KOO is going to be able to freely shove the bottom or the top side, maybe get down to that tier 2 with his Trinity Force and start to be a real threat. So Samsung here should just be looking for delay tactics until KOO has to force the issue.
Right, and Dragon is now alive, and Wisdom activates the Dragon.
Yeah, they know they have to push it right away. They know where KOO is on the map, and Prey is in the mid lane. Tiger's positioning.
Wisdom is trying to get as low as possible solo.
Risky. Smeb recalled.
Now they
he has
know.
TP up. He has TP up now.
It's at 1k health, and it is
taken by Gragas. They're going to try and disengage. You see the Brombolt and the Gragas ult coming in, but there is a turnaround. Smeb comes in from behind with the Zhonya's, but it only makes him die in the end. There was no follow-up from the rest of his team that was just trying to get out of dodge. Found the flank, but unfortunately didn't offer a whole lot. They could try to go for the Baron, but it is warded. So
I feel like this might be doable with Smeb, no TP, no equalizer.
I don't know about that. KOO has Chaos Storm still. If he shoves that right in the pit, Samsung could be in really a lot of trouble. So more poke coming in. They're going to come in with the onslaught of Shadows. The Gorilla already in the front line. There's the Chaos Orb just sweeping over everyone. And that is the right sound effect for that fight. KOO takes 2 for none in the end. You know, you kind of don't want to just go get shredded by Baron while there are Corki Rockets and a Chaos Storm.
True enough. Well, Rumble's alive. Will definitely be able to defend to some extent.
I also would not be trying to trade right now against the Trinity Force on the Corki. Okay, Samsung just falling apart 100% right now.
Well, their mental was broken.
Yeah, losing an inhibitor turret, very sloppy trade there from Samsung. You can't go for that Baron with just the Rumble down.
Well,
you also don't need to.
Yeah.
You're gonna scale better. You will have the scaling advantage. And remember that KOO is only 700 gold up.
Yeah.
Samsung was playing this early game quite proficiently.
Well, I think the idea with that Baron attempt was that they were going to start it, force the KOO Tigers to come in, and then they were going to go for the turnaround, which they immediately turned on to the KOO Tigers. But the problem was that they had the magic resist shred from Baron. They should have just hid in the pit.
They also, if you're going to make a turnaround like that, you have to have a form of engage.
Right.
And there was no engage. So what are you going to do? You're basically against this Braum and the Gragas while Prey and Kuro, the Victor and the Corki, just kite you out. And that Victor ult does a ludicrous amount of damage.
Yes,
so, how does Samsung engage? Well, Emperor's Divide was down. Kuve had the Onslaught of Shadows, but he used it very early on and only on the front line. So it's basically free damage for Prey and Kuro throughout that entire fight.
Yeah. So Samsung makes one mistake, and they're punished severely for it.
Kuve's good at split pushing. It's okay. I've seen him do this before on Rek'Sai.
Yep. Kuve backs off. So maybe a little bit of patience from Samsung Galaxy might go a long way in these situations.
Yeah, even with that pretty detrimental play on their part, they're still not out of this game by any means.
Definitely.
So they actually have been doing well enough. The problem is 3 dragons for KOO. Well, and if they can continue to just win these little scuffles because of Samsung's misplays.
Well, we'll see if Samsung Galaxy can contest the next dragon that comes up. That would potentially be the 4th dragon for the KOO Tigers. They ward up Baron, make sure that's not being stuck. And the Azir passive still up in mid lane.
Yeah, just trying to push out as best they can to make sure that KOO isn't going to threaten this naked inhibitor that they've managed to acquire.
Now, we're treading into late game territory. Crown is level 17, QV is level 16. Yeah, solo laners for both teams are over level 16, so we're definitely heading into a late game. And this is when, we'll see which team has the better shot calling, because one mistake will cost you a lot at this point in the game.
Yes, it will. And the MR stacking going to do quite a bit of work for Samsung. You can see they've really started to double down on that. A lot of these champions, and KOO Tigers have to start getting some more magic pens soon. They want to remain competitive. Kuro still without the Void Staff. Smeb actually going for the Rylai's as his next item, so he's going for the more utility, slow burn Rumble build. But I'd be very concerned that they just don't have enough late game damage to actually win 6-item fights.
Well, they'll at least be able to kite out with that slow field, the Flame Spitter slowing the whole, the entirety of Samsung Galaxy if Smeb can get the right angle. So it opens up Kuro, but how much damage can Prey do? He has that Blade of the Ruined King, he has the Triforce, he has that Last Whisper, but that last item, is that an Infinity Edge?
Yes, it will be, with the pickaxe. Unless he's going Frozen Mallet, but I don't think that's likely. Maw of Malmortius? Probably not.
Probably not. Well, Dragon live in 30 seconds.
What's Corki doing?
Corki?
He's just standing there.
He doesn't want to cross the river.
Just waiting for that minion wave.
Yeah.
Forever waiting.
Well, he doesn't want to overextend and potentially get caught out by a hard engage from Sivir's ultimate plus the Nautilus, so I don't blame him for being cautious.
How can you? Well, both top laners, TP's at the ready right now. Smeb gonna take a little jaunt back home.
Dragon is now
Get
live.
a little shopping in. And Samsung has to take this, so they have the speed shrine, they have the positioning. Here we go. TP already used. Smeb coming around.
Not the best place to TP
uh-oh.
in, but the flank is coming in.
It's not going to hit anything right there. Denied. And there's the ult on the rest of the team. Oh, a huge equalizer. Going to zone everybody out. Dragon was not taken by Samsung during the scuffle. And that means that KOO has this one on lockdown. They've taken no damage.
KOO also used all their ultimates except for the Chaos Storm, but they get this Dragon, and Samsung are forced to retreat back to their base.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do, though. They had too many members at half HP. It didn't matter. If they had those ultimates up, they weren't going to be able to win that fight. And that was great kiting by KOO. You can see they know the Hecarim's coming from the mid lane. They immediately just go into the choke. And Gorilla runs interference while also ulting the rest of the team, layering the Braum and the Rumble ults together to chunk out Samsung and force their way into Dragon. Beautiful team fight from KOO.
Maybe that TP choice into the mid lane, maybe not the best.
Well, KOO knew it was coming.
Right.
So as soon as they saw it, doesn't matter where it is. Perhaps you can get one behind the team, but they could have just gone into the Dragon Pit if that was the case. Because if you go behind the pit, they're just going to force their way into the Dragon Pit itself or down the river. But if it's coming from the mid lane, they had a very nice opportunity just to kite.
Well,
And this is something that KOO is very good at. They know how to play their team comps. They know their win conditions. They identify how they have to team fight against the other team very, very well.
KOO Tigers, no slashes themselves. They were second last season for a reason, even though they fell off really hard.
Fury actually has to use his ultimate to get out of that. Takes a lot of burn damage.
Yeah. Oh, what will Samsung lose for this now?
Well, they're actually going to lose too much at the moment.
I saw that Rek'Sai TP recalling from the bottom lane. For a second, I thought it was QB on this top Rek'Sai.
It is deceptive. That is how we like to see Samsung play.
You know what I'm sad about these days, at least in Champions? We don't see a lot of Black Cleaver. I like that item a lot, too.
Well, we see it on some days terrible Renekton.
Oh, someday.
Such a good player, but those Renekton games.
I mean, he was known as a Renekton name for a very long time.
He's his most played champion. He's like a 63% win rate on it or something like that. But it's just not in the meta right now. It's too easy to deal with the current time. And everybody going to take a little bit of Leandri's damage from Smeb as the Harpoons find their marks.
Prey takes a bit of damage from Sivir's Boomerang Blade.
It's okay. He has Blade. He's going to heal that up in like two autos.
Well, Fury going for the Bloodthirster soon. I feel like a Spectre's Cow will be such a big buy, at least with the dot damage that's coming out from Smeb. And on top of that, you know, there's a decent amount of dot damage coming on Poke as well from the KOO Tiger. So Spectre's Cow would actually be a pretty decent buy.
Veil is definitely the item you want this game because there's just not enough hard CC to make the QSS particularly useful, especially since you're unlikely to ever get hit by Gravity Field from Victor.
Or 4 stacks from Braum.
Yeah, or 4. Yeah, that's really unlikely to happen, especially since you have a spell shield in the first place. So that is a very valuable pickup for Fury this game eventually. If he has a Bloodthirster and a Veil, I don't know how KOO's going to kill him.
Right. Maybe with just a Victor Q pop.
There you go.
Death.
The Death Ray. Although Spell Shield is less useful this game than it might otherwise be, just thanks to the persistent damage coming in.
You know, when Victor gets that Lich Bane and he, uses that Q and gets that next Empower Auto Attack, that thing doesn't become a laser strike. It becomes like an orbital strike pretty much at that point with the amount of damage it does.
Okay, they're pushing up. They spray out of position. There's a good onslaught of shadows on Akuro. He has a flashback, but here we go. There's a gravity field laid down right in the choke point.
Victor's
the kiting is great, and there's the Chaos Storm laid down. Finally, Smeb gets here with the equalizer, and Samsung committing in this choke really didn't work out for them. It looked like a good fight. Gorilla falls, but Kube gets absolutely cut off by the Chaos Storm gravity field combo. Samsung looking like they might want to go for a Baron, but there's so many wards.
And home guard for KOO Tigers. 2 of their members rushing their way towards the mid.
Smeb is going to have TP up in about 5 seconds. So here we go. They're going to try and rush it down, but Smeb's going to be back and on top of them in a heartbeat.
They can do
They're
it,
going
though.
to get the Baron, and what else? TP coming in.
Oh, no. Does he know he's there? And he's going to get caught.
Some people are going to die here from Samsung. Crown
Oh.
is going to get taken out by a rocket. Eve goes in, but the flash is there for Smeb as he hits over the wall. Wisdom looking for another kill. Double kill for Prey. So the Baron goes over to Samsung, but it's not going to do a lot of good with the number of people who died. And since Kube was already dead, they only have 2 members up, Fury and Wraith, with the actual buff.
Extremely unfortunate for Samsung Galaxy. They chose the wrong retreat path. It looked like Crown might have been able to turn it around, but the well-used Zonias by Smeb.
Yep, and the flash afterwards to prevent the follow-up. And this is very bad. 25 seconds until Eve and Crown are back, but 35 seconds until that 5th Dragon stack.
Oh dear.
So the reality is, Crown is not going to be there, probably,
Well,
for the Dragon going live. If he's there, he's going to get there right as it spawns.
Well, he does have home guards enchantments.
But they don't have position.
Right, and there are not many tunnels for Rek'Sai that are close enough. He's
Gonna
coming
have to
in.
use that one very far into his own jungle, but you can see the ward already down for the Tigers. They have the speed trying.
And they have position.
Yeah, Azir is trying to get there. Kube has TP. Why is he actually running right now?
They have position and 2 chokes, so are they going to go for it? And they are on fire.
That's right. Eve just going to get tied up here by the Braum.
Destroyed.
Stacks, and he goes down. I have no idea. Kube had TP up, but he was actually the last one out of the base. If he had just stood, he had to all in for that.
Yeah.
You just have to go for that one.
You need a Hail Mary.
Yeah, you 100% have to. You have a naked inhibitor in this game.
Gorilla,
Yeah.
Unbreakable does not block tower turret shots.
But it blocks whatever else might have been coming his way. Very.
Well, they take the inhibitor, and they're going to go for the bottom inhibitor. I guess their ultimates... No, their ultimates are up now. They could have forced the issue onto the Nexus turrets with their 5 Dragon buffs, but no, they're going to go for the safer play, take the bottom tier 2. I guess they just want to clean up all the outer turrets.
Okay, so inhibitor down now in favor of KOO. Man, I can't believe that Kube was the last one out of the base right there when the Azir was coming back up, and I just have to go for it.
Maybe he just wasn't confident enough that his team would just died for nothing. But can't, you give away the 5th Dragon
I'm sorry,
anyways.
you have a naked inhibitor. There's not a choice that can be made there. There's like a 0% chance of you defending.
Yeah.
So you might as well just die.
Might as well just die. Monte Cristo 2015.
Suicide for Dragon. If they're about to get 5th stacks, you have a naked inhib. That is absolutely what you should do.
You know, if Doa was here, he would have said Suicide by Dragon was the name of his punk rock band back in high school.
I think it would have been like a power metal band, actually.
They have quite the song selection. Through the Fire and the Flames. Totally not ripped off from...
it's not really through the fire and the flames, so it's more like dying within the fire and the flames, isn't it?
Incinerated by the fire and the flames.
Suicide by Dragon is a great band name, though.
I know, right? Well, 5 Dragon buffs still up for the KOO Tigers. They have all of their ultimates up, and Kuro with his fully upgraded Chaos Storm is a terrifying victor.
Yeah, and this tower just going to fall extremely quickly in the face of the 30% extra damage to the turret. So here we go. Gorilla's going to walk forward. They've got the zone. They need to actually auto this tower if they're going to drop their zone like that.
They have about 30 seconds until their buff runs out, and they're just going to back off.
Interesting choice.
I think they could have forced the issue there.
I think they could too. Will be a veil this game from Fury.
So Crown and Samsung Galaxy have a second lease on life for now.
So Suicide by Dragon, actually very similar to one of my favorite band's names, which is Murder by Death. Also the name
Murder by Death.
Also the name of a movie. But,
okay.
Very good band. You should check them out, everybody. You're welcome. I have now successfully increased the taste of tens of thousands of people with one line.
Oh, man.
That is my power.
But why will I listen to Murder by Death when I can listen to Justin Bieber?
Well, Barry, I don't even know how to respond to that. I don't think anybody in the world knows how to respond to that.
Okay.
I don't even know why Justin Bieber is famous. I honestly have no clue.
I don't either. I'm sorry. Well, actually, I shouldn't be sorry. Canada should be sorry for inflicting Justin Bieber onto the rest of the world.
Canada should be sorry for a lot of things. Celine Dion, Justin Bieber.
Well, they do say sorry a lot.
Poutine? That is nasty.
I've never had it before.
You know, it's funny. Every time I go to Montreal,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this poutine. Montreal's a great city.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm going to try poutine again. And then I eat it, and basically my stomach just rebels against me afterwards from
What
the
about it?
disgusting sea of grease that it inflicts upon me. And I'm like, why did I eat this? Every time. I eat it every time. And I instantly regret it. And I never eat it outside of Montreal.
I guess poutine is like the razor cake version of food for you, I guess.
It
Every
is.
time you're like, it looks so delicious, and you just,
It's always so disappointing.
such sweet sorrow. Well, KOO Tigers just waiting for another Baron and another Dragon. Cuvée possibly going to take the tower, and I think he can, and skedaddle out of there.
And he's actually going to grab it before Smeb can clear out the wave.
Could he
So-
duel Smeb right now? Maybe. He has both MR items.
Yeah, he should be able to.
Doesn't want to risk it.
Well, the thing is, if he starts that duel and somebody comes through that jungle, there is, with the Rylai's slow, he's not getting out of that one.
He is a one roasted horse. One roasted metallic horse.
Okay, so we do have the Baron coming up in 4 seconds.
Well, looks like Prey wants to get as much poke down as possible. Surprised he has.
Eve coming in. There we go. There's a flash knockup. They're going to find themselves.
Oh!
Great, guys. And they have an amazing flank with Cuvée into the back line. And Smeb now coming in. Gorilla extremely low. But that's already 2 kills for
Amazing.
Samsung. Great engage on that team fight. KOO was split up. They weren't ready for that to come in. I'm not sure if Samsung's going to be able to finish here.
They're pinging
but
the Baron.
They're going to get Baron and Dragon. Huge turnaround in favor of Samsung.
I don't think they can get Dragon. They're going to have to give up the 5th Dragon if they want the Baron. What do you want?
Yeah, I guess they want the Baron. I would just take the Dragon right now, honestly. They're going to try and get both.
We have Cuvée and Eve trying to contest this. Will they be able to?
This is maybe a game-changing smite right here. Kuro's coming back.
And they get it!
He gets it, Cuvée. And Eve successfully steal the Dragon. They're going to die.
Can they run away? Cuvée trying to run away. 4 members of Samsung in the mid
Fury,
lane.
full HP, so they actually steal away. Wow, very close there on the disengage. Wisdom's coming in, and there's the Zonia's on the gas. Smeb wants the flank, and he flashes for it, doesn't get it. Cuvée already back. Crazy
Amazing.
game. Crazy game.
Amazing. Well played, Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, that team fight initiation, they were very decisive when they saw that KOO was split up. Got the Sivir ult, flash on Burrow.
Let's see it again.
Yes, chilling smite. And then look at that. They just all in Prey, destroy him. And then Cuvée finds the perfect flank onto Kuro, so he removes him from the fight nearly instantaneously. The equalizer is dropped to try and split him up and deal so much damage, just beat a hasty retreat. But now KOO on the defensive.
This game has come back to being anybody's game now.
Well, I still really like the position that Samsung is in. They got their inhibitor back up. They have the stronger 5v5 in the late game. KOO was not able to really execute on their power spike in the mid game as well as they would have hoped.
And now since they have the 2nd Dragon buff, they do extra damage to structures as well. So this can definitely, let's see how much gold Samsung can get from the hidden stores in the towers.
So why would you keep the gold in the tower, by the way? That's like the least safe place to put it. That's what everyone is trying to kill. Don't you want to hide the gold somewhere else?
I blame Yordles.
And why would you put the gold in the minions, too?
I blame Yordles.
They're basically just pinatas marching down the lane.
Anything you say, I'll blame a Yordle. Those chipmunks, they're just placing it into everything. They're just hoarding it like the chipmunks they are. Look at Rumble. He probably keeps gold in his little mobile suit there.
I bet he does. Well, I mean, he has to store it before he buys items, so
Yeah.
that's just factual.
You know, Super Galaxy Rumble has that kind of mobile suit, and I wish they had made it a little more angular, almost like, you know, the Gundam style of like the mobile suits.
I hate that skin so much. Don't even get me started.
I love this skin.
What he just yells dumb crap all
That's
the time.
what's so great about it.
It's just ridiculously annoying.
Don't you like, you know, random shouts of Rising Phoenix, Fire Flame, or
No,
whatever
I don't
he
even know what
says?
the hell that means.
But his drill is definitely the one that pierces the heavens. Maybe not so much in this game.
Okay, so nice zoning. Fury gonna get a couple autos, and that is a Chaos Storm on a Fury, forcing him to back away. He's gonna get that HP back, but a successful defense for the moment. Prey finds Eve on the side. There's the Chilling Smite. Eve takes a lot of damage. Gorilla gonna move the wards up just a hair.
But Samsung placing pressure across the map fairly evenly, even though they have to retreat. And back to a lull. This game may very well go to 60 minutes, Monte Cristo.
It may. I thought of another thing that Canada should apologize for.
Oh, tell me.
Nickelback.
Nickelback. But don't you want to look at this photograph? Because every time it makes me laugh.
Also helping Britain in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
They should feel bad about that one too, especially on the 4th of July.
The day in which freedom reigned across the world and a bald eagle shed a single tear.
Of joy.
Of joy, yes, yes. Not of sorrow,
Okay.
but of joy.
Kube has the GA at this point.
He can go in, he can do as much damage as possible and come back to life. So Kuro in not a great position right now, but he does have his Lich Bane and his Zhonya's Hourglass, so he does have some survivability of his own. But does his team have enough damage to carry through a fight if he does use Zhonya's?
Yeah, that is, with a couple Zhonyas on the team, you do have some ways to get around that Hecarim.
But that leaves Prey, Gorilla, and Wisdom very vulnerable to the rest of the Samsung Galaxy team. So we shall see. Wisdom's still very, very tanky.
Void Staff's starting to finally come through, but Kuro doesn't have one. And this is one of the problems of Victor having that Hex Core,
Yeah.
is that if you want the Morellonomicon, maybe, I mean, if you sell that, you're really draining, you're making yourself very reliant on blue buff. It's a tough call.
If you get rid of them, you can. So here's my thought on it. You get a boatload of AP from your fully upgraded Hex Core. Why not sell the Rabadon's Death Cat, take a slight loss to your maximum potential damage, but get the Void Staff instead?
I think that Void Staff just gives you more damage considering how much MR is on Samsung right now, unless he really thinks that he can just one-shot Fury.
Unlikely with his range. So, yeah. Note to all viewers, when you're in the late game, get rid of your Rabadon's Death Cap and get a Void Staff.
I think that it actually is very much more efficient in this particular situation. Obviously, I can't do the math on it right now, but considering just looking at the stacked magic resist.
Yeah, even let's see.
I mean, he does have nearly 1,000 AP.
Everybody has it, and we have double Locket for Samsung Galaxy. So,
Lots
you know,
of shields.
Nautilus. Not on top of that, Nautilus and Rek'Sai are doubling up on that aura right now.
Okay, well, here we go. Another attempt at a 5th Dragon Stack from KOO. They waltz into the pit. They actually get into the river very easily. There's no control over that.
The 5th Dragon fight.
And
Kube goes all the way around.
And there we go. They know he's coming in. They stop him early. They take no damage from the Onslaught of Shadows. That's probably going to be the end of this as Samsung messes up their engage as the KOO Tigers kite out. Eve is down, and so is Wraith. Now Prey going to flash forward, or Valkor then flash out. Fury on the side, but he's got a Rumble and a Gragas all over him. Double kill. That is 4 for 1 in favor of KOO.
Kube fought that team fight so badly. Yes, if you miss your Onslaught of Shadows, why not still stay in there? You have a Guardian Angel. Let your team get in there and do the damage. And
Right.
KOO is just going to drop all the damage on the structures.
I mean, KOO, they saw it coming. They played it properly that time. Remember I said earlier, if he TPs behind the pit, you just go down river. Exactly what happens. They isolate him, but KOO can't provide any damage, any threat onto that backline, partially because of Prey's Banshee's Veil, but also just because he was slowed down nearly instantly by Smeb.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a one game for the KOO Tigers as they come back via threatening that dragon and some nice team fighting late. Perhaps a little closer than it should have been.
Well played by both teams, actually.
Yeah, Samsung had some really good engages there too, just not consistent. And that's the thing that we have to take a look at here is KOO consistently fought those team fights properly,
Yeah.
and Samsung was just a bit hit or miss.
That last team fight, though, going back to it, I feel like KOO could have stayed in there and let at least be this big trap to let the rest of his team catch up and try to at least drop as much damage as possible. He had Guardian Angel. He can die and come back to life.
I totally agree with you.
So, tough loss for Samsung Galaxy. They stuck in there with the second place team in this league. So we'll see if they can take a game next game.
Yeah, I agree. And Samsung, they've shown that they can win against